In 1999, a mining site in the Philippines experiences a colossal cavern collapse that uncovers the fossilized remains of a gigantic creature and two egg-shaped pods. One pod is discovered broken with a trail leading to the ocean, indicating that something ancient has awakened. Shortly afterward, a catastrophic earthquake occurs at the Janjura nuclear power plant in Japan, resulting in scientist Joe Brody losing his wife Sandra. Authorities dismiss the disaster as a natural accident, but Joe suspects foul play. 15 years later, Joe has transformed into a conspiracy theorist consumed by the need to uncover the truth surrounding the Janjura incident. Meanwhile, his son Ford, now a U.S. Navy explosive ordnance disposal officer, returns home to his family. However, Ford is quickly drawn back to Japan when he learns that Joe has been arrested for trespassing in the quarantine zone of the now-defunct power plant. Joe remains convinced of ongoing activity in the area, and the duo sneaks back in, discovering that the site is not radioactive as claimed. Their exploration leads to their capture and transport to a covered facility built over the ruins of the Janjura plant, where scientists Dr. Sarizawa and Dr. Graham are studying a massive cocoon housing a parasitic creature known as a MUTO, massive unidentified terrestrial organism. When the cocoon hatches, the winged MUTO escapes, unleashing chaos and revealing its ability to generate electromagnetic pulses that disable electronic devices. In the ensuing turmoil, Joe is mortally wounded but shares crucial information with Ford. Ford is subsequently brought back to the U.S. military, where he joins the effort to track and combat the MUTO. Dr. Sarizawa explains that these creatures are ancient predators existing long before humanity and thriving on radiation. He introduces the concept of Godzilla, an even older apex predator that has emerged throughout history to restore balance when such threats arise. As the MUTO traverses the Pacific towards the mainland, a second larger wingless MUTO is identified near Las Vegas. It becomes evident that these creatures are a mating pair drawn together as they consume nuclear energy and wreak havoc across their path. In response to their presence, Godzilla, a colossal reptilian titan long hidden beneath the ocean, rises. Commanding an awe-inspiring presence as he towers over structures, Godzilla emerges as both a protector against the MUTO threat and a harbinger of fear. The military devises a risky plan to draw three monsters out to sea using a nuclear warhead, aiming for a single devastating explosion to eliminate them all. Ford, a bomb disposal expert, is involved in the operation. However, the well-laid plan quickly unravels as the creatures demonstrate their cunning and agility, outsmarting the military's attempts at capture. The airborne male MUTO intercepts the warhead and delivers it to the female MUTO, who begins constructing a nest amongst the ruins of San Francisco, aiming to hatch new monsters. As the city descends into chaos, Godzilla appears to confront the two MUTOs in an epic battle. The male MUTO is agile and aggressive, while the female MUTO proves to be even larger and more ferocious. Although Godzilla possesses immense strength, the coordinated assaults of the two MUTOs begin to overwhelm him. During this tumultuous battle, Ford sneaks into the nest to deactivate the warhead but realizes it's too late to defuse it. Instead, he sets it to be airlifted by helicopter and ignites the nest, eliminating the eggs in a massive explosion. The destruction of her offspring incites the female MUTO's wrath, and she turns her fury on Ford, almost killing him. In a gripping climax, Godzilla intervenes. He uses his atomic breath, a fierce blast of nuclear energy, to obliterate the male MUTO. He ultimately defeats the female MUTO by prying open her jaws and unleashing his atomic breath down her throat, resulting in a cataclysmic explosion that lights up the sky. After the ferocious battle, Godzilla, battered and weary, collapses among the debris of the city. Ford, on the brink of death but blessedly rescued, reunites with his family, offering a brief moment of relief amid the surrounding destruction. As dawn breaks over the shattered city, Godzilla regains consciousness and rises. The media, which initially viewed him as a threat, now calls him a savior. Rather than seeking glory, Godzilla returns to the ocean, vanishing beneath the waves and leaving humanity to ponder its place in the natural hierarchy of life. The film concludes with an unsettling sense of peace. The reality of colossal, uncontrollable beings has been indisputably confirmed, resulting in a violent reordering of the natural balance. Dr. Sarizawa's assertion that humanity must learn to coexist with these incomprehensible forces serves as both a caution and a testament to awe. Godzilla emerges not as a creature to be vanquished, but as a primal force of nature that appears when the world's equilibrium falters. Godzilla, 2014, intricately intertwines themes of humility, sacrifice, and reverence for nature throughout its narrative. The character of Joe Brody demonstrates an obsessive pursuit of truth, leading to his tragic demise while revealing humanity's complicity in provoking ancient forces. In contrast, Ford Brody's transformation from a soldier to a protector encapsulates the broader human struggle for survival against overwhelming powers. The film redefines Godzilla's role not as a traditional villain but as an unwilling hero, reflecting nature's fury that emerges only when provoked, highlighting the complexity of the creature's existence. The movie effectively reinvigorates the iconic kaiju for a new audience by framing its story within the context of real-world fears, loss, and the resilience of humanity. The monsters transcend mere entertainment. They symbolize mankind's reckless disregard for nature and the hubris of believing we can master all natural forces. As the narrative unfolds, it becomes clear that true survival hinges not on dominion over nature but on a mutual understanding, respect, and equilibrium. The plot commences with a mining expedition in the Philippines, unearthing a vast underground cavern that reveals the fossilized remains of an ancient, gigantic creature. Scientists Dr. Ishiro Serizawa and Dr. Vivian Graham investigate this site, discovering two mysterious spore-like cocoons, one dormant while the other ruptured with a distinct path leading into the ocean, hinting at something ancient reawakening beneath the surface. Meanwhile in Japan, seismic disturbances impact the Janjura nuclear power plant where Joe Brody and his wife Sandra are employed. As they respond to a crisis in the plant, a catastrophic event unfolds when a breach occurs, flooding the facility with radiation. In a moment of desperation, Joe seals the containment door, trapping Sandra inside as the plant collapses. The government attributes the disaster to an earthquake, but Joe, consumed by despair, believes the truth is being concealed, a conviction that shapes his obsession for years to come. 15 years later, Ford Brody, now a Navy explosive ordnance disposal officer, returns home from deployment to reconnect with his wife Al and son. His life takes an unexpected turn when he learns that his father has been arrested in Japan for trespassing in the quarantine zone surrounding Janjura. Traveling to Japan to rescue him, Ford discovers Joe still entrenched in his fixation on the past, convinced that the events leading to the disaster were unnatural. He has documented seismic patterns mirroring those before the original disaster, signaling that a new threat is looming, a realization that they must confront together, drawing them into a conflict entwined with the awakening of ancient powers. The narrative revolves around Ford and Joe, who return to a devastated city to recover data that Joe had stored. Surprisingly, they find the air safe from radiation, contradicting prior warnings. Their mission takes a dark turn when they are apprehended and taken to a secret facility established at the remains of a power plant. Here scientists monitor an enormous living chrysalis. Suddenly the cocoon erupts, releasing a winged creature identified as the male MUTO, massive unidentified terrestrial organism. This creature rampages through the facility, triggering a powerful EMP that disables all electronic systems. During their desperate attempt to escape, Joe sustains grave injuries and ultimately dies during a helicopter evacuation, urging Ford to pursue the truth behind the events unfolding. After the incident, Ford is brought aboard a U.S. Navy ship where he meets Dr. Serizawa. The scientist divulges vital information about the MUTO, explaining that it feeds on radiation and has adapted to seek out nuclear materials. Serizawa recounts a grave event in 1954 where humanity attempted to eliminate a creature named Godzilla using nuclear weapons, unaware that Godzilla was not a man-made creation but rather a primordial force of nature. After this encounter, Godzilla seemingly vanished, leading Serizawa to believe it had gone into a state of hibernation. However, Godzilla has now awakened and is tracking the MUTO as it poses a threat to ecological balance. As the male MUTO traverses the Pacific, it wreaks havoc, demolishing everything in its path. Subsequently, a second, larger and more lethal MUTO, identified as female, is discovered in Nevada, having devastated a nuclear waste facility. The two MUTOs appear to communicate, and the military quickly realizes their intent to meet and reproduce, thus heightening the stakes. In response to the growing danger, Godzilla emerges from the ocean depths, presenting a colossal and majestic figure. His arrival sends shockwaves, triggering tsunamis and instilling widespread panic, but his primary focus remains the tracking of the two MUTOs. Recognizing the imminent threat posed by the colossal creatures, the military devises a strategy to deploy a nuclear warhead, intending to lure all three monsters to a specific location. This plan underscores the urgency and desperation of human efforts to regain control in the face of overwhelming natural forces, as the balance of nature hangs in the balance amidst the chaos unleashed by the MUTOs and the awakening of Godzilla. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.